Hi, everybody. Those who are watching and listening, welcome back to my show, Experiences with Anish. So this is one of my special guests, I would say, because I've been trying to get this guest for the past, I would say, 6 to 7 months, and after a long time, I'm able to get her on my show. So today's guest is none other than Sherry, who is completely into LinkedIn, and she's a co-founder of Unique Qt, if I'm not wrong. Like I did not
Unique
pronounce
work. It's
exactly.
unique work. It's
So I
combination of unique plus quirk. So every brand has
okay,
its unique quirk. Unique
okay.
work. It's a very meaningful name.
Understood. But like I was trying to get the pronunciation correct, but I couldn't get that. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
so she's a
okay.
co so she's a co-founder of that agency, and they do help founders and investors to build their brand on LinkedIn. So Sherry's specialty is completely around LinkedIn. She's a LinkedIn expert. She has around, I think, if I'm not wrong, like around 21K followers, and she has a very good LinkedIn profile. So again,
Thank you.
this podcast is not going to be exactly about AI, SaaS automation like my previous podcast, but instead is going to be completely around LinkedIn. So just stick around for another like 15 to 20 minutes. It's going to be a power pack session. Okay. So with that, let's get straight into it. So Sherry, thank you so much once again for accepting the invitation and being on my show. So how do you feel?
It's a pleasure. I feel great. I mean, we have been trying to connect for a long time, right? And
Very true.
finally, we are here. So I'm excited to be on your show and catching up with you again.
True. Okay. So without further ado, let's get straight into it, Sherry. Uh, every time when I bring a guest, right, based on their expertise,
Mhm.
I'll try to ask their expertise level. Okay, meaning if they are into meta ads, I'll talk about meta ads. Now, since you're like fully into LinkedIn, I want to start with LinkedIn itself, which is what is the current status of LinkedIn? Because I think I have seen a lot of changes recently, right from
Mhm.
being the content format and all those things, because everybody has
Right.
started talking about AI, SaaS, and all those things because we have a lot of this
True.
AI and IA content, right? So, what do you think on the whole? What's the current status of LinkedIn now?
The current state of LinkedIn. Actually, that's a very broad question, Anish, but let me give you
Okay,
a quick snapshot of LinkedIn's current landscape, right?
sure,
So,
sure.
right now, if we talk about just from growth perspective, LinkedIn boasts over
Hmm.
1 billion people, 1 billion users today, right?
That's a
And
huge, yeah.
recent stat by LinkedIn showed that nearly 40% of monthly active users visit LinkedIn daily. That translates to
Okay,
around 400 million people actively engaging on this platform every single day, right? So in
wow.
fact, I was reading a LinkedIn startup document by them that LinkedIn
Okay,
reported that two new members join LinkedIn every second. So even as we speak
wow.
right now, there are people installing LinkedIn, they're downloading it and opening. So that's how fast it is growing. And I'm not sure
Awesome.
if you know this, but LinkedIn is
Hmm.
the top channel for B2B enterprises to drive business, right? Do you know
Yes,
that?
true. Yes, no, actually,
Exactly.
when I started my journey on LinkedIn, it was like completely into B2B, and then slowly it kind of transitioned into B2C as well. But primarily it was targeted for B2B, right?
Yes, yes. I mean, it is for B2C. It has a huge market, but B2B, it's a prime market. And honestly,
Hmm.
its lead conversion rates are three times higher than any other major platform, which makes it the best B2B, best channel for B2B business owners, founders, CEOs to brand themselves. So if you don't tap into LinkedIn right now, you
Hmm.
might regret finding yourself left behind in 2 years while your colleagues or let's say your industry peers soar ahead because they're using the platform to grow. So that is the current state. It is growing very exponentially.
Okay, understood. And is there anything that you would like to add in terms of attention span? Because every platform they are trying to go shorter, right? In case of short form videos and all those things. So is there anything that you would like
Mm-hmm.
to add? Because LinkedIn is primarily focused on written post. I think that's been
Right.
from the start, right? So is there anything that you would like to add in terms of attention span?
Uh, so I would like to ask you a question. What do you mean by attention span? Is it in terms of format of the
Hmm.
content or how usually a viewer sees LinkedIn and what the attention span of
Yes,
viewer on LinkedIn is like?
I would like to put it in this way. See, again, even now LinkedIn have, in fact, my LinkedIn is being updated and have this video tab right at the bottom,
Right.
right? So
Right,
which
right,
looks
right.
like even as a normal consumer, I do think that even LinkedIn is trying to get into video, but it was like
True.
primarily focused on written, right?
Textual
So like, what do you?
content.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly, text. So like, what do you think about that? So that is what like that's what I meant by attention span.
Oh, so definitely. I mean, a lot of other platforms are also adapting to video content, right? And LinkedIn was first basically a digital resume platform, right? It
Very
was a
true.
digital resume, then it turned into
Very true.
content, it turned
Mm-hmm.
into creator platform, and now it is
Mm-hmm.
evolving as a creator platform. So earlier we were just writing textual content, and it was going well. To be honest, I was very comfortable sharing stories or about my profession, my expertise on LinkedIn. But now it has grown.
Okay.
People have started sharing creatives, carousels, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
people adapted, and now there is video. So when it comes to attention span, I wouldn't say that people have caught on to video too much, because I don't see a lot
Okay.
of amazing video content on LinkedIn as compared
Mm-hmm.
to Instagram or other video platforms. But
Okay.
I think people would soon adapt to it, because it has to be like that, right? People need
Very
to
true.
adapt to it.
Very true. Okay, understood. Let's get into the next question. When you start writing post on LinkedIn, right? I
Mm-hmm.
think most of your posts get a very good engagement. Like as I said, like I've been following you for a very longer term, right?
Yeah.
I have seen one format, I would say, not format, but I've seen like one framework that you always use, which is numbers.
Okay.
Like you really play well with numbers. Even like
Yes.
my first question was like, what was the current status of LinkedIn? And you gave me a lot of numbers because I think
Yes.
that your numbers really gets attention is what I think. Okay, if it's like
True.
really genuine
True.
numbers, it gets attention. That's the framework that I've been seeing in most of your posts. So like, is that
Right.
your primary framework when you write LinkedIn, or like I mean, like when you write on LinkedIn, or like what is your primary strategy when you write on LinkedIn?
I love that question actually. And before I answer that, I would like to ask you a question. How many
Sure.
AI generated and templatized posts do you see on LinkedIn on a daily basis?
I would say anywhere between 10 to 15 because I don't scroll much. I only
Uh-huh.
scroll to do my engagement part, and even in that engagement part, like I see, I would say at least like 50 to 60% of being AI generated.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, there can be two reasons. One is I am like more into AI and SaaS as of now, so which is why my
Right.
LinkedIn feed is being filled with that. And second,
Mm-hmm.
probably I think people don't want to waste their time; they just wanted to take some content from Claude or ChatGPT and just put it. But I would say like at least anywhere between 10 to 15 content from
And
AI.
do they stop the scroll for you?
Completely depends on this so-called this headlines because I have seen see because there are many content. It is like I would say when we read a textbook, right? Like when we're not interested, when we read a textbook, I get
Right.
to see a lot of text, like one like it'll be kind of uh, congested, right? There's like no proper spacing, there's like no proper format. When I just look at that, I'll just skip away. Probably I think
Right.
that is one thing. Probably I think this ChatGPT is kind of putting it out and they're just copy pasting it. So
They're putting out the first draft of
exactly,
ChatGPT, right? Yeah. And
exactly
they don't leave an impression. I mean,
true.
it's so scrollable content, right? So I'm guessing none or very few of them catch your attention, right?
Mm-mm,
And this
mm-mm.
is what I wanted to
True.
say, that this is what most of the people are doing in the name of personal branding today. And that's a sad
Okay.
reality, right? Most of the people are
Okay.
just trying to copy paste what seems to be working for everybody, or it's from
Mm-hmm.
ChatGPT, or it's working for,
Mm-hmm.
let's say, top creators. So if you look at
Okay.
it, most of the content on LinkedIn today, it's very
Mm-hmm.
AI generated either, or it's very templatized, right?
Understood.
So
I
it's
think I'm
like
able to relate now.
everybody's trying to fit into that same mold, that if this works
Mm-hmm.
for this top creator, I'm just going to
Mm-hmm.
emulate that and I'm going to copy, and then 100 other creators are going to copy that. And that's why it's like it has become a place. LinkedIn has become very indistinguishable. Like there is no authenticity or originality if you look at it, right? And
Okay.
what happens when you do what others are doing? You become one
Probably
of
like
them,
yes, like there's like no
right?
uniqueness. There's nothing called personal branding here, right? There's nothing as personality here.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So you fail to stand out. And what that's the thing, like what most of the content lacks today is originality. So the
Mm-hmm.
strategies or principles I follow while writing my post, or when we at Unique Work for write for our clients, is
Mm-hmm.
first is align your content with your customer's journey for maximum
Okay.
impact. So do
Mm-hmm.
not write what you want to share. This is what most people are doing on LinkedIn today. If you want to sell on LinkedIn, do not
Mm-hmm.
write what you want to share. Write what your ICP wants to read.
Wow.
Does that make sense?
Very true.
Yes. And add defensible numbers. Like I said, like you mentioned that I add a lot of numbers. Like add defensible numbers, address your ICP's job function to increase open rates. So in fact, when you put a job function in the hook line,
Mm-hmm.
it will increase your open rates by 34%.
Wow.
So
Understood.
make your ICP understand that this content is written for them. So because
Mm-mm.
there are a lot of people writing posts, I need to know if I am your ICP or not, if I should even click on that see more button and read it for me. So you need to address them in your hook line,
Very true.
right? So that is the first thing. And again, put testimonials about the CTA, or if you want to sell on LinkedIn, if you want to generate lead, if that's what your goal is, then put
Okay.
testimonials about CTA, and your CVR would go up by 27%. And by the way, all these stats are based on the study done by Jay Swidelson. He's the founder of Subject Line and president and CEO of Outcome Media. So
Okay.
all of the stars, he had done analysis of 6 billion mails, email marketing outreaching, and this is all the stats that he have derived from that study. So all of this are very true, and all of these work
Understood.
because I have also applied them, right? So this
Understood.
is what you need to do. So last but not the least, write something novel, something original and thought provoking, right? Focus
Okay.
on hook lines and add specificity in terms of keywords, in terms of pain points, in terms of what kind of desired outcome you want, and add numbers. Because decision makers, whoever your ICP is, let's say
Mm-hmm.
top decision makers, they do not have time
Okay.
to read post with a vague hook line to assess if it was worth the read or a value addition for
True.
them. Right?
True. True.
That is the reason why most hook line fail to get to the desired CT and CVR. And if you
Wow.
look at it, everybody is doing that. That's what 99% of people on LinkedIn are doing today. And when you do that right thing over and
Mm-hmm.
over again strategically for months, your ICP sees you as authority, and you significantly increase your brand recall and brand reinforcement. That is the, I would say, panacea, or that is the final solution for getting inbounds.
Wow. I think now I'm able to exactly understand like why my LinkedIn post is not getting the attraction what I'm expecting it to get, to be frank, really. Because what do I think is, as you said, like currently, like what do I do is like whatever I learn, I try to document, I just try to share it, okay?
Right.
Though I wanted to sell my automation services, like I'm not
Mm-hmm.
getting this sort of inbound leads. Of course, like I have to do a lot of outbound, but my
Right.
LinkedIn corner, like what do I do? I try, like, okay, see, this is what client is expecting. I'm trying to do a video case study, like I'm trying to do that, and I'm also sharing what I've done, but I'm not getting this sort of, I think getting an inbound is secondary, but at least I'm not even getting, the sort of engagement, I would say, on my LinkedIn
Mm.
profile. Now,
Right.
I think it makes sense. Like and I'm like really able to relate it with the things that you're telling.
I'm so glad it's helping.
I think, I think from now on, if I literally, watch back this episode and uh, implement everything, probably I think I'm gonna do well. So thank you.
Yes,
It was
yes,
like
all the
really a
best
good
for
one.
that.
Yes, and I'm gonna clip this part alone, and which will be put up in every platform so that everybody will understand. Look, what is the actual strategy to write on LinkedIn as well.
Yes, sure, please
Yes.
do it.
Yes, awesome, awesome. So with that, again, I think my next question was like around personal brand, but since you've already covered, a bit about personal brand in your previous
Mhm.
talk, right? I think personal brand. Is there anything else you want to add in terms of personal branding on LinkedIn apart from this content
Sure,
strategy
sure.
that I've put out?
Yes, I mean, as I said earlier, the best time, like, I would
Mm,
talk about if somebody wants to start their personal brand right now, what's the status,
okay,
right? So, as I said earlier, the
understood.
best time to start building your personal brand was 6 months ago or 1 year ago, where this was really a hot thing and people were just jumping into bandwagon,
Very
right?
true.
The second best time is today because the LinkedIn landscape is undergoing a paradigm shift. Your LinkedIn is,
Okay,
like I said before, is no more a digital resume. It has turned into a creator platform. So,
creative
how do you
platform.
brand yourself? How do you monetize it? The first thing you do is build a robust foundation, right? Which you do by profile optimization or setup.
Mm-hmm.
I would like
Mm-hmm.
to use this example. It's quite funny, but would you ever walk
Okay,
in meeting wearing just panty? Would
okay.
you? No,
So,
right? You wouldn't.
no, yeah,
You
yeah. Please go ahead.
wouldn't walk in a meeting wearing just a panty, right? That's what an unoptimized profile look like. So you need to have a power
Understood.
suit. So when you have an impactful, powerful profile, that's a power suit. That's how people see you, right? So in a business meeting, let's say if you don't walk in with just without clothes or without wearing anything, it's going to be
Understood.
embarrassing. So that's how
Very.
unoptimized people profile is like. That's how people perceive you. So having a robust foundation is the must. That's the first thing. Why do we need that? Because it ensures your message is reaching the right people at the right time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your profile is easily discoverable and is
Mm-hmm.
SEO optimized. You need to have those things. And third is
Mm-hmm.
your ICP. When you have a very properly optimized profile and a very impactful one, your ICP knows exactly what is it that you do, why do you do it, and what is it they can expect from you. Like what's in it for them, why should they even follow you. You need to
Very
have
true.
very clear optimized profile for them to understand you and be even interested in you, right? So once they're interested, that's when they get invested. And then comes the content creation part, right? So like I said earlier, your content online is not just some words put together. That's what everybody's doing, right? It's your
True.
online
True.
persona, your reputation. So every word you choose to write defines how your ICP or a community perceives you, right? And in
Okay.
fact,
Okay.
I there was a recent study by LinkedIn uh,
Mm-hmm.
that showed 92% of buyers engage with thought leadership content before making a purchase decision, right? Which means
Wow.
by if you are publishing generic content or AI generated content, something that is very Googleable, you're
Mm-hmm.
losing out on 92% of potential buyers, right?
Wow.
And you don't want to do that, do you? And that's why you do the
No.
exact steps that we discussed before. You have to stand out, you have to be original, you have to write something very novel, something thought provoking, right? Something that, makes people think and understand, okay, this person knows ins and out about their business.
True.
So that
Understood.
is one. And the last would be, I would say, network
Mm-hmm.
building and nurturing. This is one thing that many people take for granted, right? But this is the
Okay.
most crucial part of your personal brand. So whatever your end goal may be, you need to build a community around it, right? So
Mm-hmm.
there is this common misconception people have about community. They think it's about follower counts or likes,
True.
right?
Very true. Very
it's
true.
not it's not that, but it's about who you connect with and how deeply you do that. So you need to be very strategic with your community building efforts. So build a loyal following, but drawing
Mm-hmm.
customers into your world through content and engagement, right? Engage and
Okay.
nurture them through comments and DMs for deeper connections. And you have to be very strategic about who you're connecting with. Are you
Mm-hmm.
connecting with industry folks or people in your industry? Are the influencers in your industry? Are they your ICP? They need to add some kind of value to you. We don't want some random service providers just engaging with us for the sake of it, right? We need to drive business here. So everything has to be very strategic. And when you do that over and over again, when you consistently showcase your expertise and your industry insights while engaging with them, you gain their trust and you then slowly
Understood.
compel them to follow you, right? So, this way, let's say you're nurturing your ICP
Okay.
slowly and consistently. When they need your services, you will become their first choice. I have
Mm-hmm.
actually pulled some of the best clients through writing authoritative comments. So that's a solid potential right there. So
Wow.
this is how I would like to end it. Believe it or not, engagement is the new currency. So you need to invest wisely.
Engagement is a new currency. Wow. Awesome.
Yes.
Really, it was a power-packed thing, I would say, because uh, now I really understand the importance of strategy because everybody, right, say strategy, strategy, strategy. And like when I'm
True.
trying to interact with you, I think currently like you're the first person whom I'm interacting who's like a LinkedIn expert, meaning like whose work is completely revolving around LinkedIn. My other guests were like
Yes.
they use LinkedIn just to build to get some connection, those things, but their expertise was something
Right.
else. But you are the first
Hmm.
person who's like complete. So like now I'm able to like completely relate the importance of LinkedIn, how to grow on LinkedIn, and for everything, right? Like you give numbers, so that kind of
Right.
shows me probably your way of growing on LinkedIn can be many ways, but I think one such way that
Hmm.
like you really study a lot of the stats and numbers, which helps you to
Yes.
optimize your content, make it relevant to the audience, right?
Exactly. I mean, I was on call with one of our clients the other day, and he was talking about that he connects, like he was prospect before, and he used
Okay.
to engage with 60, 70, or 80 people on a daily basis, and he would only get 4 or 5 likes in return. So that was his reciprocation rate. So when you talk with people, the first thing is how do we reverse that? Right, and you think from
Mm-hmm.
a very strategic point of view. Now most of the people online would say that write better content or write storytelling, but that's not how it is. If you are
True.
connecting with, let's say, 60 or engaging with 60, 70 people, if they are not adding value back to you, and if
Mm-hmm.
you're just getting 3 4, if let's say likes or engagement is the metrics you want to measure, right? If you don't want
Okay.
leads, if you
Yeah.
just want few likes, or if you want, that is
True.
something that you want. It's a key metric to analyze your brand awareness, right?
Hmm.
So if you want that, and if you're not getting, despite putting a lot of efforts, if your input is high, if your output is low, there is something wrong in the funnel, right?
Okay.
So that's what we I would say fix, right? So I tried to fix that by saying that his burn rate was high, right? There is
Hmm.
something called as engagement efficiency. So everybody has an engagement efficiency rate. So if you're, let's
Okay.
say, engaging with, like, I'm engaging with, let's say 20 to 25 people every day on a daily basis, and in return I'm getting 400, 500, 700 engagement. If only I'm just taking engagement here, right?
Okay.
So if
Sure.
I'm
Sure.
getting
Understood.
400, 500, 600, so my engagement efficiency is quite high. It stands at 2000, compared to someone who is engaging with 80 people and just getting 5 or 6 like, their engagement is actually 8%, right? So there is
Hmm.
the difference there. If I'm standing here, you are standing here, what is it that wrong? You need to fix that. You're either engaging with the wrong people, or there's a problem that the way you are communicating with them is wrong, or you don't have a strong brand persona, or you don't have an impactful profile that intrigues them to know about you, to connect with you or engage back with you. So you need to bottleneck that problem and then find it where you are wrong. Once you fix that, then you will go to the level that maybe an any top creator is.
Okay. I think I
Yeah.
would say now this is the reason why people pay so much in order to build a brand on LinkedIn. Because
Right.
because see, it is just a commenting. We people as in consumer, we just think it's just commenting. But like
Right.
in commenting, like we have so much strategies that put into work in order to get the
Exactly.
reciprocity, right? I mean, that's like really
Yes.
great. Yes. So I
And
think with that, yeah, yeah, please go
yes,
ahead.
please go ahead. I was
No.
saying that your network is the most valuable asset you could have on LinkedIn, right? So there is one observation that I've seen, that a lot of people there are a lot of top influencers or top creators on LinkedIn, right? And they have massive following, and they all say that, give everything. Impart your knowledge, just give everything, and that is good strategy. But one thing is, if you want to start a business, if you want to drive business from LinkedIn, doing that will take years, because all these influences, they took years to get to that level. And if, let's
Mm.
say, Anish is from Chennai, Anish wants to grow his brand, Anish wants to pay his bill, he wants to drive business, he wants consistent income. If he start posting content right now which is about around influence building and sharing his expertise, he'll be attracting wrong kind of audience. Because let's say I want to learn about LinkedIn, and I'm
Okay.
following you because you are
Okay.
sharing everything about LinkedIn, the ins and outs and all. So the kind of
Mm.
people you would be attracting would be people who are willing, or students basically,
Understood.
right?
Understood.
So
Totally.
you are
Totally.
attracting students here. So what,
Students.
let's say, if you want to sell your service, these people, they would of course support you, but they don't have capital to invest in you. So you won't be able to
Very true.
monetize on this community,
Very true.
right?
Very
So
true.
you need to be very strategic about, if you want to drive business, if you want to generate lead, you need to create a community that is actually willing to invest in you, like, like top decision maker. Let's say for LinkedIn, let's say our ICP is founders, CXOs, investors, right? All of these
Understood.
people, now these people, they don't want to sit and learn about the ins and outs of LinkedIn. They want to know why it works for me, how does it work. So they want to outsource it, because these are, the business entrepreneurs. They don't have time to study LinkedIn and all that. They want to just learn why it is effective, why it is driven, why should I do it, and what's in it for my business. So once you tell them that, they would be interested, and that's the reason why we get a lot of inbounds, because all these people, they want to know why they should invest and not how they should invest the time,
Yes.
or maybe, or learning them. So it
Yes.
depends on what your end goal is. If you want to
Yeah.
build an influence, go ahead, but it will take time to monetize on that influence. Eventually you will reach maybe 100,000, 200,000 followers. Great. But then if you want to monetize this audience, you'll either have to build a program, build a course or something, because these are the learners. You are gathered learners. And if you want
True.
decision makers, if you want ICP, you will have to have different strategy. So there is so many things that people are doing wrong. They're just following the creators, but they don't put head, like, behind, or the science behind why they want what they want, and how LinkedIn can enable their end goal for them, or achieve them the goals they want. So yeah.
Understood. And I think this is why, like, I'm able to relate. Like, this is why most of your content is kind of why rather than how, if I'm not wrong.
True.
Because,
Yeah,
like,
I
I
mean,
literally,
it's good.
yes, like, literally, most of your content, like, says, like, you are, wasting your money on so and so because you're not building a personal brand. Like, I've literally read a lot of posts like this. So, like, I think it's been on a rare cases that I read your content stating, like, how to post on LinkedIn. Like rather, most of your content is like why you need to post on LinkedIn. I think this is the reason.
Right.
So totally.
That
I
is
think
the
it's
reason. So I'm at my in I would say personal brand is at a point where I have attracted a lot of learners as well, people who are keen to learn about personal branding, people who want to invest in personal branding. So I have mix of both, right?
okay.
But the trend in the last year, there are a lot of people, a lot of founders, a lot of investors, a lot of entrepreneurs who have followed me in this last year. In fact,
Mm-hmm.
like around 10,000 or so, there are so many of my network is uh, consists of investors, consists of founders, consists of top decision makers. So these are the people who need different kind of content, like I discussed above, right? They
Very
need
true.
something
Very true.
authoritative. They need something thought provoking. They need something that rings with them, that communicates the language they speak, that conveys the language they speak, right? So you need to have a mix of both. And if you're starting new, you need to define what you want out of LinkedIn and then reverse engineer it. For me, I'm at a situation where if I talk about how to brand yourself on LinkedIn, it would work as well. Or if I talk about why to do it, it would work as well because I have
Mixed
mix
story.
of audience, right? So
Understood.
yeah.
Totally. Yeah. I think with that, we have come to an end and it's been around 25 minutes. Like it was really a power pack session, is what I would say. Thus far, the best LinkedIn uh, content strategy or be it anything like how to grow on LinkedIn. So I think I have a lot of things which been like really great. And finally, before ending, right, like I wanted to ask one more question. Okay. So this
Okay.
is observation that I have done. I'm not trying to
Mm-hmm.
share criticize any, big brands, I mean, big influencers or creators. Okay. I have
Okay.
seen a lot of creators, meaning big creators, okay?
Okay.
They keep creating the same content again and again. Like literally, I have seen this in AI space,
Mm-hmm.
especially, okay? Like
Okay.
their carousel is the same and their content is same, and I think it's been repeated. Like I'm able to observe it. People say that you need to repurpose your content, but like
Mm-hmm.
the way, the frequency or the way that they are repurposing, right? It's like I'm able to observe that
Mm-hmm.
this is a repurposed content and still
Right.
it gets, I would say, anywhere between 300 to 500 likes and comments, like their engagement. I think in that race at least their impressions would be nearly a million if I'm not wrong. Okay. And
Mm-hmm.
like I'm able to
Right.
observe that. And like so I wanted to ask you, like, does LinkedIn like really support this big creators even though they keep creating the same content again and again, that people, meaning their audience, is observing that this is a repurposed content, and I've just seen that content as well. So is there anything that you want to say
Mm-hmm.
this? Because I did this observation right before, I think, last week. Like I'm seeing, like,
Okay.
I felt like this is the content I've just read it. I think it's been just 2 days back, and today again it's on my
Mm-hmm.
feed. It says that posted now, and it still gets the same attraction. So is
Mm-hmm.
there
So
anything
is
that you
it
want to
about
add
the
to?
repost you're reposting, that they
It's not.
repost the content?
No, 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 it's not repurpose. It's the same creator. They're just repurposing the same content, is what I'm saying. It's not a repost by someone else. It's not like that. It's the same. Let's say I'm a big creator.
It's the
Today
same post. I get your
exactly.
point.
It's
Let's
the
say
same post. Yeah.
so it's the same post they are posting 2 3 days later, right? So there is one thing that it works for top creator one because they have massive following. Let's say if I have 100,000 followers and my audience, of course not all of my audience would see my content online, right? So if
Okay.
let's say 500 out of 100,000, if 3,000 or 10,000 people see it, 1,000 people are going to engage with it, right?
Hmm.
But if tomorrow I post the same content, the other rest of the people are going to see it, right? And
Okay.
one thing that I have observed that these people also have invested years in building solid community, right?
Hmm.
So they have massive following, they have good community, and this is why I emphasize on a lot as well. So they have good community. And if
Okay.
I, to be honest, if I talk about it, uh if I wouldn't do it if I were in their place, because it kind of affects your brand reputation as well. You
True.
need to repurpose your content, but you don't have to have repeat the content, right? It is because your community is not stupid, they see things. So if you're
Very true.
repeating the same thing again and again, they will find the pattern, right? You
True.
need something, as I said, you need to keep fresh ideas coming. Do repurpose the content, but add different flair to it. Add something, a bit of you know I would say creativity, or write it in a different approach. But I would say that today a lot of content is very replicable. If you
Hmm.
see, like if one person says it, the other creator says the same thing but in a different way. So that's what I was saying, that if you want to stand out on LinkedIn today, you have to be
Hmm.
original, you have to say something novel, and you have to do something what the other people are not doing, and you have to do it with a strategy in mind and stick to it. Because see, at a point where these influencers or these top creators are someone with 200,000, 300,000 followers. They have massive following, they have good community, and they have
True,
nurtured
true,
that community. So for
true.
them, if you look at it, their engagement rate is honestly not that, I would say, great. Because if I
Hmm.
have, let's say, 200,000 followers, and if I'm getting
Okay.
1,000 like, that means 199,000 people are not liking or engaging with my content. So their engagement rate is not high. It's just
Hi.
that number is good, but the engagement
True,
rate is
true,
not high. So if you need,
true.
so how do you increase that engagement rate? By writing something nice, writing something refreshing, adding defensible numbers, being very strategic about the content you write, right?
Hmm.
And
True, true.
writing authoritatively. And that is how you'll increase your engagement rate. So even though these people write something for a, like, long, same content, I think their engagement rate is still pretty standard. Like, it is in the same bracket, right? So
Understood.
despite their follower count is growing, their engagement count or engagement rate is not growing. And now you know what's the problem, right?
Exactly. And now even I'm able to understand because whenever I look at few creators, right, like when they suddenly grow and when I look at their engagement rate, like I go and look at their profile, and as you said, like they'll have such a huge number of followers, but
True.
their engagement rate, like it's not, we think it's not like fair at all. It's like, it doesn't match.
Exactly.
The math doesn't
Exactly.
match at all because their
True.
engagement rate would be like so low, but the followers would be like so high.
Exactly. And that's why I
The
always say this, that your follower counts don't mean anything. Like, they are not monetizing you. Let's say, Anish, you have 100 followers and 10 people are actively engaging with you. These are, let's say, your ICP. Then your engagement rate is 10%. But let's say if you have 200,000 followers and you have only 2,000 people engaging with you, what is your engagement rate? It's
it's
hardly
like
1 or
very,
2%.
it's like very low.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes. So is that good from a personal branding point of view? Is that good from a business point of view? No. So you
no,
need to do something different. So as your brand grows, it also starts dying. So if you need to save it, you need to do something fresh. You need to, have some innovative ideas or write creative
no.
content, or I would say A/B test a lot. This is one thing that you need to do. Does that make sense?
Understood. Totally, totally. So with that, we've come to our end, and I mean, like, really, Sherry, this is the best podcast as of now. Just because you're around my show, like, I'm not telling this because on LinkedIn, I get to know everything that's happening and how to grow on LinkedIn. Like, I've got the framework, is what I would say. So this is
Yes.
going to be
I
like
hope this
really
helps
helpful
everyone who has
everybody.
watched
So
this.
I'm gonna try to kind of push it to everybody as much as I can. We'll see how far it kind of reaches. Okay, so we'll
Yes,
try
yes,
to
yes.
do this, and with that, we have come to an end. So, is there anything else that you would like to add, Sherry?
Uh, I would say that if you are thinking about starting your personal brand, this is the best time to do that. But I would say clearly define your goals. What do you want? Reverse engineer
Okay.
it, and
Hmm.
don't follow what everyone else is doing. Just because it has worked for someone else may not work for you. Try to understand your business first and how to put it out in the most authentic way, and use numbers, use results, use stats, and do something novel, I would say. Right?
No,
Don't try to follow the templates. Okay, it is good
true.
for once in a while, but don't get into that loop of content
Hmm.
or the templatized content. We don't want that,
Understood.
because then you will become like any other brand that's on LinkedIn, and that's not really a personal brand. If you really want to stand out today, if you want to stand out today on LinkedIn, you have to be just human. That's it. And if you want to monetize your brand on LinkedIn, you have to be the smartest human. That's it.
Wow, wow, that was a great ending. And with that, we are ending
Yes.
this session. Thank you so much, Sherry. Thank you again.
Thank you.